What's up? This is Aubrey O'Day, and you're now tuned in to The Biz with D.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for now tuning in to The Biz with D on My Fierce Wings Radio. And right now we have Miss Aubrey O'Day. You guys don't know who Aubrey is. You guys should know, especially if you've been friends of mine for like a long time. You know, Danity Kane. She was a Celebrity Apprentice. She did Broadway. I mean, Aubrey has done everything. She's had her own show all about Aubrey, and now she is on the show with us. What's going on, Aubrey?
Hi, it's good talking to you again.
Good talking to you, too. I mean, how have you been since we've last spoken and seen?
Great. It's been a whirlwind with life, I would say. But right now I'm really excited about my new album, Between Two Evils. When we first released it on pre-order, it went to #1 on the dance charts. And I'm just really excited. I'm in love with this body of work. It's finally a product that I was responsible for creating from start to finish, production-wise. Writing-wise, I worked with Jaden, who's worked with everyone from Jay-Z to Diddy to Lauryn Hill to Chris Brown. He's fantastic, and I started this project coming off of a really bad broken heart and kind of the great love of my life going bad, and I just was so down and so depressed, and I couldn't come out. I couldn't see light, and I tried therapy. I tried all these different things to kind of get back to feeling like myself, and it wasn't until I got in the studio and just started writing it all out that I started to become healed. So this is the product of that.
Definitely. So now, before we talk about the whole go in depth about with the album and stuff like that, I definitely want to ask you for yourself and having the successes you've had being on MTV and platinum albums and Book of World Records and sold out tours and stuff like that. Is it hard for you to, like, really seek that guy who is really for you, like, meaning the guy that's really genuine, wanting to be with Aubrey, the woman, or Aubrey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always a perception of, that's easily accessible when you're somebody that's in the entertainment industry and has kind of a larger platform looking at them. And, there's all those perceptions. I mean, I remember, like, in my last relationship, I had to get through, the mom saw this photo or that photo of me online and this article that said this, and she thinks I might be like this, or son, what are you doing? Like, there's always that, and that's if you get past the guy's reaction and ability to handle and really, like, represent you, knowing who you are versus what the reputation is. It's difficult. I mean, everybody always, we all wish that we could just completely tailor make the way that everybody sees us. And even, if you're not a celebrity, everybody nowadays with social media has the opportunity to be scorned in some way.
Definitely, that's so true. So now, from this bad relationship you came up with Between Two Evils, I love the dark concept, because that's what it is, but the music is really filled, the album is filled with dancing, your pop tracks, and it's definitely staying true to who Aubrey is as an artist.
Yeah. Everything was really dark. When I first started, I had so many producers submitting records that were up and happy, or just like, some of them were really, really amazing radio smashes, etc., but they weren't well made for this moment in my life and this project. Like, it would be a lie if I had gone into the studio and done any of those tracks. And I really just was always very specific with everyone that I worked with, that this is one moment, one thing, and that I know that I could do a lot of different types and sounds of music, and that maybe the expected thing is not necessarily what's going to be happening. And mostly I wanted just the connection of having an album from start to finish that made sense and that told a story. If every song on the album connects into the next song, and it starts off with the last conversation that I had with the guy, and it goes into the whole process of what immediately I felt. The first, literally within, it's put on the album exactly how it was recorded.
Definitely.
So it's not like I went and, like, did things later and put them in the front. And I went through all of the recording and then kind of got to a place where I wanted to do, like, as a more of an R&B track, so I really could cover the realm of the types of sounds and music that I really love. So as R&B as I get, I made this track called Devil in Me. And it started off, you know, in a place where I was feeling some kind of way about the relationship, but it almost became a song where I was really talking about my battle and feeling toward the industry. And it was inspired by, like, I was sitting there listening to Donny Hathaway, A Song for You, and all the guys were like, you know, you're constantly filling all of your tracks because I was, you know, grew up on Brandy and I'm so in love with her backs and the way that she uses her voice as an instrument and the way that she fills tracks. So I do that so much on all of my tracks. We did that with Danity Kane as well. Right. So a lot of my tracks are so filled and constantly moving in the backgrounds and the leads. And with this track, he was like, you know, sometimes there's a beauty of just singing from start to finish, not punching any words, not going back and correcting bad notes or raspy tones or anything like that, but just being genuine from start to finish, performing a track and singing a piece of work authentically. And I thought that was great, so we did that with Devil in Me. Definitely. Easiest song I had to record. I was in and out in an hour.
And that's I love the flavor with that and the lyrics, how it's just so well spoken, and you're not holding back. Like, you're saying exactly what the fuck is on your mind. And by the way, you can't curse, so feel free to.
Yay!
So I love that. And then I also have to say, Love Me When You Leave. Can I ask what state of mind you were in with that? Because that song is just, like, phenomenal.
I was really, like, I walked in the studio that day and I kind of was just feeling like, you know, when you're in a relationship or you have that, like, great love or that person in your life and everything is so good when they come into your house and the door closes. You guys have the best relationship, the strongest connection, everything feels so good. You could lay in bed for hours, like, cuddling, talking, you know, whatever it is. And then the second they leave, the relationship falls. It's just, it doesn't translate into real life. And it's that feeling like, you know, everything can be one way when it's here, but the second that the door slams and he's out, it's like when he leaves, it's not there anymore. It doesn't translate. It doesn't come over. He doesn't call you the same. He doesn't talk to you the same. He doesn't treat you the same. It doesn't feel the same. And how can something be one thing inside when you're together and completely disappear once they return back to their life, as if you're just a passing moment?
Definitely. That's what's up. So now we have some fan questions. I mean, your fans were blowing up my Instagram and everything else. So we're going to get to all of their questions today. We're going to jump back to mine because I like to get to my questions. So one question is, what is your favorite thing about each member of Danity Kane? I don't know if they meant as to what's current or what was original, but you can answer it how you feel.
Okay, favorite things. Shannon, my favorite thing about Shannon is that she's able to really be the balance in all of the extremes that the rest of us had. She's able to understand and appreciate everyone's point of view, but pull it back to a balanced place. There's no intention of ever being divisive, and she's not overly emotional, and she's just a rock. She's like the place that it comes back to its rest, which I love. I love that she's, you know, everybody has to play a different part, and not that she doesn't have her extreme highs and lows potentially in her own real life, but in our situation with Danity Kane, I love that she kind of stabilized. She was like she brought everything to its most, like, genuine, honest, fair place. I like that. Drea, what do I love most about Drea? I love Drea's voice. I love when she performs. I love listening to her sing. I love the passion that she has. I love, you know, I'm a pop girl and I love pop voices, so when she belts out those high notes and with such ease, you know, like, we were just talking about it the other day. Like, she could even have, like, 3 shots of tequila and sing better. Like, it's a natural, like, God-given talent. And it's just so impressive to watch it exist in everything that she does, regardless of the circumstances around. She just has got such a beautiful talent. And everybody does, but for me, I'd probably say she's my favorite in that regard. Dee Woods, I loved how fearless Dee Woods was, in the sense that she loved like communicating with people. We could leave a room and only have met 3 or 4 people. Dee Woods will have met everyone. She'll have their numbers, and she'll already be texting them when we're leaving. So she's a great networker. She's great at communicating and sparking up conversations. She loves getting to know people. She loves really being able to connect all the things that she's learned and met and experienced in life, which I think is a really great attribute. And Dwani Pooh, I would say, favorite thing about Dawn, she wants to be better. And it's kind of rare in life that you see somebody that never stops trying to be better. Usually you get comfortable. Usually you you get into your places where things are cool and you just stay there and you find happiness in the comfort of those things. Dawn doesn't do that. She reads, she writes, she explores, she thinks, she puts herself through another challenge. She continuously is trying to find answers and to better herself.
Definitely. And it looks like we got a lot of Danity Kane questions, so we're going to get all of that out the way, and then we're going to get back to you, because that's what it seems like a lot of people want to know. One question definitely is, since you guys are planning to do a reunion and you guys have been seen in the studio, will you guys be doing, have you guys recorded similar music to what has been out before with you guys, or has it been a little different?
We don't know that there's a reunion, and we don't know that we've been in the studio together.
Ooh.
Those are just rumors that are out there. So I don't know. If we ever made music, I suppose it would be a representation of whatever we are now.
Definitely. And so now, with that being said, though we haven't seen Dee Woods with you guys and stuff like that, would she be a part of, this reunion moving forward, or will she not be? That's definitely one big question.
Well, when we had met for lunch, she was not there, and that's the extent of our interaction so far. So, no, she has not been present in that interaction, but she definitely was asked and definitely was welcome to be a part of the interaction that we had. But I would assume at some point, if we ever were to get back together, that you'd have to make a commitment or not, and you'd have to live with that decision.
Definitely. So now let's just get back to my questions, because we can talk about Danity Kane all day, but the past. Let's live in the present, though. And I wanted to ask you all about Aubrey, because I definitely watched the show. Let me just ask you, how was that just documenting you getting back into music as a solo artist versus, documenting your music career with Danity Kane? How would you say the two differ?
It's better because I can do more. I could explore more of my talent. I could push myself in ways that I wasn't really able to push myself. I could explore in any possible way I wanted to without having to sacrifice or have a 3/5 or 5/5 agreement on the matter, which always makes things move quicker and feels less aggravating. What did I miss about it, or what was the negatives of it being different? You are alone, so you don't have your sisters. You don't have travel companions and singing companions and performing companions and new ideas that push your ideas even further.
Definitely. Now, would you say being solo has definitely helped your creativeness as far as, just period with your career a little bit more?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I was always on stage, and my dream was always to be on Broadway, and I had always been in touring companies and performed on stage. So when I got into Danity Kane, I had never even sung in a studio. So going into that, I never told anyone that because I was never going to let anyone see me sweat. But there were a lot of things that I was unsure of or not certain that I could be great at or how to be great at, and I had to just watch and learn and go and never let anyone catch me up because of course we had television shows filming and they love to catch people up. So I would always just watch and observe and then, do my version of whatever I saw happening. So I never really got a chance to play with my voice, understand how big my voice was. I remember the first time I was in the studio and someone actually, I was working with a producer that wasn't asking me to sing sexy, breathy, whatever, and was really allowing me to belt. And he was like, whoa, you have a huge voice. I was like, yeah, I guess I do. I forgot. I haven't used it in so long. So I think that had we really been pushed and had we really been nurtured talent-wise, we really could have seen. I mean, essentially in a group with 5 people, you want each one of those 5 girls to be at their best and be being pushed beyond their best. And that's when you have a situation that is, worthy of, let's say, a Grammy. You really have created the best possible artists out of everyone and are continuously pushing them past the place that was their best. And with us, we were kind of always, and not at our own doing, but at our system's doing. We were always told what to do, where to go, how to do it, change this, change that, you need to be this, you need to be that. And we weren't really given a lot of opportunity to break boundaries and fly and spread our wings. And that gets frustrating for artists. It was frustrating for us.
Definitely.
It was limiting.
Definitely. So now I also noticed that throughout your just career in music, Johnny Wright managed you guys, first album go round, and then you guys worked with Jay Irvin on the second project, and then with your solo career, you worked with Johnny Wright, and you're not working with him now, correct?
I worked with Johnny solo, yes.
Mm-hmm. What made you want to continue to work with Johnny versus, the other managers and people that you could have worked with?
There's a comfort in the familiarity, and in my opinion, managers are as good as they're willing to work for you. Even the best managers, if they don't know you personally and they're not connected to you and they don't have a sense of responsibility for you as a person or your career, it never goes well.
That's definitely true.
So because I just have such a strong relationship with Johnny, and I've known him for a very long time, and he was one of the people that chose me to be in the band. He saw me when I first stepped on the stage and asked if I could sing. But so he's well aware of my talent and the growth and everything that I've kind of established and become. But most of the things that I've done, especially after Danity Kane, were on my own. I didn't have a manager. I didn't have anything. Johnny came on through the show, but I got the show on my own by walking in and saying, "This is what I want to do."
Right. And you've always been that way. Always saying, not, having other people to say it. Even on the show, we clearly see that. You said what was on your mind. You didn't care who was there. And you know what? I love your honesty. That's one thing that I can always say about you. I definitely love was your honesty and just being free with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely, it gets me in a lot of trouble, but I'm definitely that person. I can't be any other way. At some point you just have to be okay with who you are in life and how you choose to express yourself. And if it's offensive to more people than not, but it's who you are and it's true to what you feel you are and how you feel you want to express yourself, then you just got to be you.
Definitely. So now let's talk about Heart on My Sleeve, and because that once was a clothing line, but now that is your company now, correct?
Yeah, it's my company, but yeah, I had done that T-shirt line during Making the Band days, and just had sold out on everything a few different times, and kind of just wanted to, at that point it was the end of Danity Kane, and I was moving on to go to Broadway, and I wanted to just explore other areas, and that was very time consuming, but so fun and did so well, and potentially I would come back, not revisit that idea, just because nowadays
Right.
T-shirts are not a selling market, and that's in the way that I was doing it. But of course, there are many, ventures that I would like to get involved with, especially after Celebrity Apprentice and understanding so many other areas of business that I was strong with, and that people wanted to hire me into companies for. But I'm not going to explore any of those places until I've finished unfinished business. And my album Between Two Evils was one of those things. And I'm hopefully for the rest of this year going to keep knocking those things out.
Definitely got to. And I definitely want to talk about the charity that you started, Fight AIDS Now. Phenomenal. Yeah. Let's talk about what made you want to start that charity.
When I was, I'm trying to think how old I was, childhood, maybe I was 6, 7, maybe, yeah, around that maybe. My mom, who went to law school in San Francisco, always had a best friend that was a wild, fun performance artist, painter, and they were best friends in San Francisco, and he actually ended up getting AIDS. And it was in a time in the 80s where there just wasn't enough communication and understanding, and there was a social stigma, much worse than there is nowadays. And so he came and lived with us throughout the remainder of his life, which was shorter. They didn't have the same type of access to meds and things like that they do now. And he became my best friend. I was always different than everyone in school. I never really felt like I fit in. I was always just an old soul. I didn't want to really talk about the things that kids on the playground were talking. Wanted to go home and dress up and full drag and stand there with my karaoke machine and perform for hours for him. That's just what I wanted to do. So, I would sit on the playground by myself and rehearse skits and plays and songs, and then I'd go home, and the exciting part of my life was doing that. And we became so close, and he ended up getting to a point where he had, suffered a lot of the physical things that happened, like the lesions and things like that, and he didn't want to be seen anymore. I remember, my mom used to crawl up the side of the house and bring groceries through the window. He wanted physical connection and being able to not even have sex, but just touch someone and have somebody touch him back. And so I remember my mom called somebody over. She probably had hired some kind of prostitute or something. I don't know what it was. But a man came over to my house, and my mom told me years later, yeah, I called somebody to come over and be with him and not have sex with him, but hold him.
Mm.
And, my mom's very open and liberal. Obviously, look at how I am.
Right.
So she probably told me that a year later when I was 7. But anyway, it just was a very powerful thing, very powerful moment. And I remember the last time that I was with him, my mom brought me into the room and explained to me that he was sick and that he had AIDS and that he, had this or that because of this, and this is how this happens, and that's how that happens, and there are all these other ways that people say is not true, and you can't become sick if and you need to be educated and aware of things like this, and so you can understand them for yourself and teach others, and then, do you want to do one last performance and say goodbye to him? And I just, it was an emotional experience, and it was somebody that had become my best friend in childhood. And from that point on, I've always kind of been an advocate for, in college, I was like in Bio 45 AIDS fundamentals teacher. I always kind of followed the disease. I always followed the teaching of what it is and isn't. I always tried to educate people. And then even part of this class that I was teaching, we took all of our students at the end of the quarter to get AIDS tests, and we went with them and did it all together to show people, like, can be as common as going to your dentist or whatever. You don't have to feel like you could never do this and you just don't want to know, because that's when problems occur. So anyways, I started FAN when I was traveling around. That was the most long-winded explanation. I started FAN when I traveled around the world, and I was working a little bit through the One campaign. I was working with battered women's shelters and orphanages and constantly witnessing the virus all over. And the lack of education is crazy in international areas. And I just wanted to start a situation where through therapy and art, we could provide a programming in these hospitals and orphanages, places that I was visiting, where the families could have therapy, and then anyone that was suffering from the virus could have the outlet of art to express themselves. So that's where it started, and mostly in the beginning it was just about making money and funneling it through the One campaign and being able to do something to help. And it kind of got to a place where I was either going to make it my life's work or hold and really try to create my first life's work, which is performing, and then take that opportunity and platform to be able to make it grow from there. So it's still something that I'm in the process of.
That's amazing, Aubrey. I just know from just being a fan of you, you're always about giving back and, helping people, even speaking out about being bullied at a young age. Just the encouragement that comes from you is just impeccable. So I definitely have to commend you on giving back.
Well, good. I think it's the only thing you can do when you get bullied. The only thing I have now is my stories and being able to show people that those moments do not have to define you.
Right. And I honestly find it hard to believe that you were bullied, and I'll tell you why, because you're such a genuine person and so pretty. I just can't see why anybody would. Maybe that's why they were jealous, but you know what?
Those are the people that get bullied the most. Genuine people that are unafraid of their voice and fearless get bullied the most, because that's not the norm in society. The norm in society is to follow everyone around you and gossip and be mean and agree with everything that is part of the majority opinion. And so you don't ruffle any feathers, you don't raise any flags, you don't upset anyone's comfort.
Definitely, most definitely. Well, let's get these, other fan questions answered. Then I'm going to get you off the line so you can get back to your busy day. So another question that someone had is, as far as the singles are concerned with this album, can we expect some music videos?
The project that I'm jumping onto actually is going to be announcing very soon. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to take the opportunity in the weeks prior to release this quickly. I mean, before I wanted to really release it through a label and do it right, but because this other situation is something that I really want to be a part of and I really want to dedicate myself to, I felt like I needed to at least take these couple weeks to release it independently, to give the fans as much of the work that I've been working so hard on and that I was creating, and kind of the growth of where I've come musically. Wow. Put it out there lyrically. To me, every line in this album is just so genius. Jaden and I never, ever allowed an opportunity for a line to be thrown away. And we worked hard for that, because it's very easy to fill songs with lines in the studio after you have a general idea. And we just didn't throw anything away. We fought to revisit it if we couldn't get it in that time. And I just, lyrically, it's me. The conversations are real. The phone calls that you hear are real. Everything is real. It's all exactly what happened in that moment of time. And I wanted to share that moment before going off into a new project. So I don't know that there's a ton of time for a big layout and videos and all of that. But mostly, this is just a present, I guess, for my fans, for the entourage. They support me. They've stayed by my side year after year. They've gone through all the ups and downs, and there have been a ton of downs. They stand up for me. They appreciate me. They understand me, and they're inspired by my life's pain and journey. And there's nothing more than to give back to them that I want to do. They're the people that have allowed me to have a career.
Definitely. That is definitely what's up. And now with that, I'm not going to ask that question because you already pretty much said you don't know if you're going to have much time to do it. Somebody wanted to know if you were going to do dance tutorials. But would you want to do maybe, if you have choreography, do some dance tutorials to the songs that are out now from the EP?
Yeah, you can find them on YouTube. I did Chicago Pride and a few other performances. On New Year's Eve, I did Crave. And we did choreography to, we performed Love Me When You Leave, Let Me Lay, and Before I Drown. So those 3 are up. And I welcome any dancers, choreographers, anybody that loves to create, to make videos with their creations and their movement. And I would love to post them up on my Twitter. I love when people make videos dancing to my songs. That's such an amazing feeling for me.
Definitely. So now, do you have any shows planned before you do this other project?
I just did the last show going into, I've already started up on this last project, so I'm working constantly now with that. But yeah, I did my last show for Between Two Evils music and in general was Chicago Pride a month ago.
Nice. And can you kind of hint what this project is going to be? Because I
cannot.
I tell you what I think, and you can tell me if I'm warm or hot. Is that fair?
I don't know if I can do that, but let me hear what you think.
Okay. I'm thinking it's got to do something with television and music.
Definitely has to do with television and music.
Okay. So I was definitely hot. Okay. I'm not going to get too deep. I'm not going to go there, Aubrey, but I definitely want to say thank you so much for this interview, and I definitely wanted to say my favorite moment, just being as a fan, is when the first time I met you at the Nordstrom sign in Paramus, New Jersey. Of course, that was way back, and you wrote on my CD, David, will you marry me? Then D wrote, no, he's mine on there. Y'all were a hot mess.
That sounds like us.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I miss
frame. Yeah, it's in a frame right on my dresser. Look at it every day and be like, these are good times, because I swear, just, Danity Kane is in general, you guys really did inspire me to just be courageous and do anything that I wanted to put my mind to, minus the naysayers, I definitely.
Yeah, that's kind of what we always represented collectively, and that's still what we all represent individually. So that's great. I'm glad. We're doing our job.
Definitely. So, Aubrey, before I let you go and do the drop for us, tell everybody where they can find you as far as social media-wise, and tell them where they can get the new album.
The place where you can actually, connect and talk with me and communicate with me and get the most updates live first would be Twitter, which is at Aubrey O'Day. Instagram for photos at Aubrey O'Day. My website is aubreyauday.com. And mostly you can find me on iTunes, Between Two Evils. You can pre-order it right now. It comes out officially on the 13th, which is this coming up Tuesday. But you can go right now and get your pre-order on. And I promise you won't be disappointed, and I would love for everybody to listen to it and send me a tweet and tell me what you think.
Definitely. Well, Aubrey, we got a pre-order. We definitely have to have you come back once that other project is revealed, and definitely dig in and dive deep with this new album and let you know all our thoughts.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, Aubrey.